Hi, everybody. I'm JJ Davis. I am part of Dell Marketing Organization and have responsibility for public and policy marketing here in North America. I'm honored to be joined today by Sam Burd. Hi, Sam. Welcome.
Hey, JJ. Good to see you.
You too. Sam is our Chief Strategy Officer and has been spending a lot of time out with customers at Dell Technologies World in May, most recently at the Washington Post event celebrating America's 250th birthday, talking about sovereign AI. So we want to dig into this topic over the next 10 or so minutes and explore it here with Sam. Sam, let's start with, why is sovereign AI important right now?
Yeah, JJ, great question. And it's become really important because you think about AI being foundational to how things get done. And that's true in enterprises around the world. It's true with governments and institutions. So AI is becoming foundational to citizen services, healthcare, financial markets and how they operate, public safety, national defense. So as soon as AI becomes critical to how things get done in the world, then this aspect of operational control and how you have resilience and certainty of outcomes becomes really important.
Is that because now we're finally moving from pilot phase of AI to AI at scale?
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at institutions, enterprises around the world, the data would say it's close to 100%. I'll say 100% of the customers I talk to are in at least pilot or really getting to implementation mode on AI. So they care about the things that are happening in the world. It means it's gone from kind of side show to mainstream show. And as soon as that happens, sovereign AI starts to come into the conversation and how people ensure those kind of outcomes happen.
So let's back up maybe for a second and talk about, what is sovereign AI? What does it mean in practical terms? And why is Dell well positioned to help our customers achieve it?
Yeah, sure. In simple terms, you think about sovereign AI means having operational control over the things that matter most, that matter in delivering that outcome. So you can think about data, you can think about compute hardware, think about models and policy. And it's really about selecting those elements that you need to have in your control for each of the workloads that you're running. It is not isolation. Some people think it's like running to the opposite extreme, but it is going, you need control to deliver those outcomes. And it's really important. You think about the world today, JJ, it matters a lot because the data that you have and the outcome you're trying to deliver is pretty unique to you, maybe as a nation or as an enterprise. So it's not just an institution government kind of thing, but having that control ensures your competitive advantage or the outcome that you're trying to deliver is 100% under your control. And that matters. You think about the public scrutiny as those services are being delivered by AI, it's about getting those things right under pressure.
And in some governments, they want to preserve their own culture. That's a part of sovereignty too, isn't it?
Yeah, that would be another great example of making sure models reflect the kind of outcomes and decisions that you want that may be unique to your culture.
Right.
They may deliver value from your unique data. They may be mission critical things in an enterprise. They may be secure, confidential, personal information that you want to protect. All reasons to develop a sovereign AI solution.
So I imagine highly regulated industries like financial services or healthcare, you mentioned government, that's where this really matters.
Yes, it matters in those areas the most, JJ, and I see that in conversations with customers there all the time. But here's what I'd also say, it matters across the spectrum, because if you think about a business or you think about a government, there are elements of things that you do that are unique to your company or to your country or to that institution. And those things that you need to protect are really things that you need to be thinking about delivering and building a sovereign AI solution around.
And you don't want to risk that private data or intellectual property getting out into the wrong hands.
No, you think about not every element of that stack has to be in your control, but if you come at it, we come at it from a workload kind of perspective, and you can think about those workloads and go, you want to keep that secure, in your environment. So you can think about all the elements of the model that you're going and using, maybe the control you want over that, having the hardware so you have the access to run those kind of models, thinking about the policy that you're going to put around those models. All those elements of a workload you can go and make sure are in your environment. A business might look and go, my data that's really important, I want to keep in my control. Same thing for a nation might say, I want to make sure I can continue providing this service, and I am the one deciding and defining the resiliency of that service, and it's going to be there, available in the way that I want, when I want that.
What about closed models versus open models? How does open factor into what you just said in terms of governments wanting control?
If you're running a open model on your hardware, then you can kind of feed the model with the data and training that you want to have inside that model and ensure the outcomes are maybe driven by you and your model rather than a model that someone else created. So another way that fits into the stack that companies are thinking about, areas they may want to have control.
How does Dell help customers with this? Sounds like a lot that they need to figure out.
Yeah, I think, JJ, we've done a great job of putting this in place in many companies and institutions around the world. So we can help companies figure out how they get started. I talked about understanding the workloads and outcomes that you want to go deliver. Often a first step working with us is then figure out the data that you need to access to deliver those workloads. Think about how you set up enough infrastructure that in a world today has a lot of shortages. You need to be thinking ahead, and we can help companies think about what the requirements are going to be in the future. And then the great thing you get in working with us is, we've put more than 5,000 AI factories into place around the world. We've done that with enterprises. We've done that with institutions. So we can bring knowledge of that process and approach to bear, and then we can help governments and we can help companies around the world set up those AI factories so they get the kind of results that they want to achieve.
And we have our own federal enclave and federal team that serves the U.S. government, for example. That's a version of our own sovereign AI.
Yes, we do that inside our enterprise. You can think about with customers, we've taken everywhere from small pieces of that stack to fully isolated pieces of that stack and built AI factories that fit their needs.
One thing I wanted to just comment on is we do have consulting services, not just our hardware innovation, what we're doing to build the factory, but you can do AI acceleration workshops, you can do multi-week workshops, right, where our consultants come in and really roll up their sleeves with you and help you figure this out.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Like, working with Dell gets you the capability that we have amazing hardware to run these workloads on. And then, like you said, with those over 5,000 customers we worked with, our services area is second to none in the industry. We understand around the world, 170 countries around the world. We know what it takes to get this done. We've lived that with our customers, JJ. We've also lived that in our business. Like, we're a consumer of our technology. We want to deliver great outcomes to our customers. So we're putting that to use internally and building a better company. And we're doing that with companies and institutions in many different countries around the world, many different industries, and we can help institutions get started on how they need to look at their data, plan the kind of workflows they're going to go after, build the kind of factory that they need for today and for the world of the future, which is changing pretty quickly.
Let's talk about that, because you mentioned how rapidly things are changing, and Agentic AI is a very big topic right now. So if you think about phase one of Sovereign, which is all about the data and control and where the data lives and what the data can do, or what you can do with it, I should say. Phase two will be agents working alongside humans, where an orchestration model within those sovereign boundaries is going to be important. That sounds pretty complicated. How do organizations need to be thinking about Agentic and planning for that now, even if it might not be here at scale?
Yeah, I think Agentic just puts an exclamation mark on the need to think about sovereign AI. So if you think about those Agentic workflows that people are putting together, that is data that you're going to want to protect. It's how you make decisions. It's how things get done. It will put more demands on hardware that companies or institutions have in place. It's going to increase the capability of what we're going to go do in the world. So I think it just brings that sovereign AI conversation more to the forefront, JJ, in figuring out the capabilities you need today and thinking about the workflows you're going to have in the future that will be more demanding, probably more private around how you make decisions, how agents help you in making those decisions, and it's causing customers I talk to think about what that sovereign build is that they need today and how they put that in place with us.
How they document the policies. Can an agent talk to an agent in another agency, for example? Can the data move across borders? I mean, those are all practical decisions that people are going to have to plan for.
Yeah.
So maybe in our final question, Sam, what would you share with our audience around operationalizing sovereign AI, moving from pilot to production? Maybe examples around the world that you've seen, because I know sometimes it is just a little paralyzing to think about that pilot to production strategy.
Yeah, and JJ, I see most customers and institutions are in at least pilot phase.
Okay.
I think it's really important in our experience to go pick something to get started on. So there's lots of opportunities. You can't be paralyzed in where you start. I would also say what we've learned is the approach that you're going to take is going to change. So you can't think that you're going to have one AI or agentic approach to save all of them and it's going to be unchanged for the next 20 years. So pick the process that you're going to go after, figure out the data around that, put a solution in place. And like you talked about, our consulting services, our ability to help customers is really second to none. The customers we work with see good ROI from getting that done. They pick things that matter and they work to go make them better. And then you think about the kind of partnership we have. We've done that in the US. We've done that in countries around the world. I spent a lot of time in Asia and Europe with Dell. We have a multinational customer base of institutions and enterprises that are putting this to use in spaces like education. You can think about public sector, public services, things people are doing to enhance the government and the services they provide to their citizens, all the way to small startup businesses putting in place great AI factories, taking their data and turning that into new businesses that will be amazing employers and innovators in the future. So we're a great place to get started for customers.
That's awesome. Well, I know there's strict regulations in the EU and places around the world, and what's happening in Singapore is different than what's happening in the UK, different than what's happening here. So really super helpful, Sam, to educate us on sovereign, how to get started, why it's so critical. What I'll close with is we want to continue the conversation with you. We just came out of Dell Technologies World in May. We have Dell Technologies forums and symposiums here in the US and around the world. Well, we'll be able to go even deeper and adapt this sovereign conversation to whatever environment or country you might be in. So thank you for joining us, Sam. Thank you. And we look forward to continuing the conversation.